Welcome to another session of Auction Pony Boot Camp. Okay, so first up we have Miss Cruella. I already groomed her, so I'm going to tack her up, and then today we're going to focus on some in-hand work along with lunging while bridled. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the bridle I'm going to be using today. So you'll see here in a second, but what I'm using is called a Mustang side pull. So it is basically designed kind of like a rope halter, except it has the two rings on the side. So it's essentially a side pull hackamore. That's what I'm going to be using on her today because I feel as though this is what I'm comfortable with because I don't for sure know all of their history and I'm treating them as though they've never been bridled before. I want to take this slow. Yes, they probably have, and at the sale I saw them bridled, but at the same time, do they truly understand it? Okay, so I'm going to start off with just lunging her just at the walk to kind of warm up. So basically, I just want her to feel the loose rein kind of swinging against her neck a little bit, just how it will be when we're riding. Because if there was an issue there, I want to sort it out on the ground first and not under saddle. And she seems really cool with it. So we're going to move on to some trotting. Again, see how she does with the motion of the reins, kind of them swinging back and forth and lightly kind of tapping her side. I just want to see how she reacts to that. And so far, she's really relaxed. Really good. Okay, so we're going to focus on trotting for about 10 minutes. And the next clip I'm going to show you is her cantering. I want to see how she responds to the reins and everything in the canter. And I did clip the side of the lunge line onto her side pole, so that'll kind of stimulate like what the rein will feel like facing me, so the left side of her hackamore, just to kind of see, does she bend, does she give in a little? And she does very well, so I'm happy with that. She's also transitioning really well and paying attention, and she's pretty focused. All really good signs. Okay, so now we're going to move on to cantering in this direction to make sure everything's good to go. Now what you're going to see here, she's going to pick up the wrong lead. And what that means is her leg that's closest to the inside of the circle should be forward, and it's not. But if you watch close here, she does a flying lead change. See how she switches to that front leg? So that was super cool. But right here, again, she's on the wrong lead, so you can kind of see that. Okay, now we're going to move on to some in-hand work. So this exercise is designed to kind of work with her on the ground to make sure she understands what I'm asking her to do. Stopping, turning, backing up. And basically, it's just kind of simulating what we'll do under saddle. And I want to make sure that she is responsive to that on the ground before getting on her back. So again, you want to be really careful because you don't want to get kicked. Again, I've been spending basically every day with them and building that relationship and watching the signs. So even though it seems like it's nonchalant, trust me, I'm paying attention. So as you can see here, I'm asking her to back up. So what I did is I took the reins and put them through the stirrup. So there's no force, there's nothing holding her head. I would not do that. I don't agree with a lot of things like that. It's just so the reins aren't super long and that I can actually present her with the proper questions so she can give the correct response. If they're too long, it's too lagging. So this is just way more helpful. And she's doing really well. So basically, I'm just kind of asking her to move forward and then just guiding her. So I want to make sure she's kind of bending, she's able to steer. We just walk in a straight line, then I'll ask her to bend a little bit, like right here, like if you were going to go around a corner or do a circle or something of that matter. And she's being amazing. Having a really good time. This is so fun. Okay, so Cruella did really good. Our next session, I will be mounting her if all goes as planned. So stay tuned for that, guys. All right, next up we have Mr. Puffy Marshmallow OLAF. So again, I've already groomed them, and of course he's dirty because he's a gray. Hip hip hooray. Anyways, okay, so we're tacking up, and then again, I'm gonna bridle him. I'm gonna use the same bridle. It's adjustable. The only thing that I don't love about it is you really have to tie the knot a few times, so it's kind of bulky. But other than that, it's a really great bridle and a really good training bridle and hackamore. I pretty much start all my horses with it, and I really like it. So see, it's kind of funky to put on because you have to detach it. It's not just the throat latch, you literally have to take it apart. So but he's a really good sport. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is I'm going to put the reins through the stirrups. Again, this is not anything to like push them into contact or anything like that. It's too early for that. It's literally just because these reins are so long that I just want them to be out of the way and kind of in a spot where my hands will be. Obviously, they're on the saddle, but just have, you know, not a super, super loose rein where their hoof could get caught or anything like that. So that's the purpose of that. It's not to get them to put their head down. That's not how I personally do things, and it would be way too early for anything like that anyways. So we're just going to see how he does with the reins kind of touching his shoulder and neck, and we're going to warm up at our walk. Okay, I'm going to move him into a trot, and he's doing pretty good. So what I'm noticing is he's putting a lot of tension on the lunge line when he goes past his little herd mates over there. Cruella and Wessel. So of course that's a super normal thing, but as you can see, he kind of puts his head up wanting to kind of go by them. And again, I'm just kind of maintaining the contact, and I release when he puts his nose in. Now I'm not just holding and forcing his head, but I obviously am not going to let go and have him just go over there. So he's being a little fussy about that. But again, I'm just staying calm and just kind of, okay, we're going to continue forward, not really reacting to it at all. But he definitely thinks it would be way more fun being over there. Again, normal. But we're just going to continue working through. Okay, so we worked on this for about 10-15 minutes with pretty much the same response. So I'm going to go ahead and tie him up for a little bit. So I'm going to do some tie training with him while I work with Wessel. I'm going to tie him in the indoor arena so that he can kind of sort that out himself. You're all right. So I think tie training is really important, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so my outdoor arena, I can see everything in the indoor arena, so I can keep an eye on Olaf, which is great. Tie training is a very important aspect when it comes to training. It builds patience in horses, and it's very important for them to be able to tie in all situations. So he's definitely going to be working on that today, Olaf is, and I do that with them pretty much on a daily basis now. Okay, so we're going to bridle up Mr. Duke of Wesselton. He is so sweet and cute. This bridle is just so funny to put on, but I love it. It definitely comes in handy, and it's one of my favorite training tools. Okay, we're going to start some of our in-hand work. Okay, as we were starting, the horses in the pasture started to run around like crazy, so I'm just going to pause for a second and let Wesselton watch. They are definitely having a blast enjoying themselves in this nice, cool fall weather. Wesselton is just watching, being really calm and cool, so that's really good. Proud of him. Okay, back to our training session. So we are going to do some in-hand work first. So right there, when I asked them to halt in hand, I put the whip on their neck, softly, obviously. So as you saw, he kind of reacted to that and was like, oh my gosh. So you'll see kind of how he progresses with that. And what I'm doing here is with my whip, it's just an extension of my arm. I'm just asking him to move forward. And when I want him to halt, I will set the crop on his neck. See, that was a really good response. And that's kind of the goal there. He did really well that time too. He's such a nice pony. So again, I'm just wanting him to understand moving away from pressure, walking forward, bending a little bit, seeing how he responds in hand. And he's doing really good. He's probably never done this before, and I can kind of tell just by the way he's responding. But he's trying so hard. Like, you look at him and you can tell he's just thinking and trying to give the best response. So I'm going to switch sides and do the same thing and ask him to halt and move forward and bending a little bit to see if he's responding to the rein. trying not to overbend him, but it's kind of hard when they're first learning. And yeah, he's doing so good, moving away from my pressure, and I'm not pulling him. So that's just a response of moving forward with my arm being extended. And we're just going to work on this for a little while and just make sure that he really is understanding some of the cues that I'm giving him, so that when we are under saddle, they make more sense and that I know he's responding to them because we worked on the ground first. I'm going to do some lateral bending as well, both sides. Okay, so now we're going to work on the lunge line for a little bit just to make sure that he's comfortable with the reins touching his neck and shoulder. And we're going to move into our trot. And he seems very relaxed and he's getting more balanced with each session. So I'm really, really happy with the progress that we've been making thus far. Okay, we're going to move into canter and see how he responds. Very good. And we're going to switch directions and work this way now. Also, if you guys are enjoying this, if you could hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. Okay, we're going to canter in this direction now. Got a little bit fast, but pretty good. And back into our trot. He's responding very well to everything I'm asking him. He doesn't mind the reins. So we're going to go ahead and end there. Very good. Okay, Wessel did really well. So I'm going to keep his really short since he did so good. You were pretty good, boy. Got you some treats. Got you some treats. Yeah. Now you're a good boy now. Uh-huh. You are. You feel better now? You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Oh, yes, we gets it. We gets the scratchies. You just need to calm down, you little snicky. You're just so silly. Yeah, I know. Okay, so I have been slowly integrating them with the herd, but today is going to be full integration. So they have the dry lot, which is right here, and then they have the pastures open as well, so there's plenty of space. There's Cruella. She's meeting the geldings. That's Pascal that she's meeting. Oop, a little sassy. Pascal's very interested in her. Not sure if the feeling's mutual. That's Miko. I love how they're all three running in this little band. Okay, guys, so this was the last day of filming for Pony Boot Camp Groundwork Edition. The next videos will be individual videos of their first ride. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss anything. And if you're really liking this, really, really hope that you enjoy their first ride. So I'm really looking forward to them. And it should be really interesting to see how it goes. So thank you so much for tuning in, horse lovers. And I will see you next time when I do my rides on them. Bye, horse lovers.